Here we are again, and now it's Exodus, and we'll be looking at the story of how the Israelites got out of Egypt, not just in order to be free, but in order to be able to serve God rather than serving Pharaoh, and at the way that they met with God at Sinai. One of the things that I love about Exodus is that it discusses theological questions by telling the story of what was going on at the time. And there are ways in which you can do things theologically by telling a story that it's harder to do in the form of traditional systematic theology. So in the story of Moses and Pharaoh and the famous hardening of Pharaoh's heart, you get a sequence of stories that help you to understand the interrelationship between God's purpose and God's sovereignty and human purposes and human sovereignty. Not in order to be able to kind of solve that as a problem, because the point about the question of that interrelationship is that you can't exactly solve it as a problem, but what Exodus enables you to do is to walk through it and get your mind around it some more. And Exodus does the same later on in the second half of the book, when at Sinai Israel gets into trouble for its disobedience, and the stories offer you a sequence of takes on what does God do when his people let him down. And there are various kinds of ways in which God goes about coping with that problem and giving expression to the fact that he is, on the one hand, the God who is merciful and faithful, but also, on the other hand, the God who can't let people get away with too much. And a third theological issue that the story discusses is what we mean by the presence of God, because there are all sorts of different ways in Exodus in which the story describes God being present with his people in different sorts of ways, with different sorts of implications. The book also, of course, has got sets of instructions about how Israel is designed to live, which can also be illuminating for our understanding of what it means to live in God's kind of way. And we'll start looking at those, but we'll be looking at some more of those when we come to Deuteronomy next time. There you are.